welcome to another episode of The Wheel of Convo. I'm Joe.
And I'm Corey.
And today we have a special guest, Zack Weber from Cinemodities and Knights of Vader. Hello, Zack.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on, you two.
Anytime. So tonight's topic is a good one. It is mystery. What was it again?
Master Wheel
Theater. I messed that up.
You messed that up, and we're leaving it in. We're not editing that out.
No edit.
No edit.
It's one take.
All things cinema this evening.
And a plethora of it. The good, the bad, the ugly, the obscure, the fun.
The good, the bad, the ugly, the Manos, all of it.
Manos. So, well, let's start off. Zack, which one do you want to go to first? Since you're the guest, you get to decide. You want the good, the bad?
Let's do the bad. I like bad.
Bad. All right. So, if I was to ask you, Zack, what is your favorite mockbuster of all time?
Mockbuster?
Yes, one that was so horrible that you will mock it every chance that you can get, but yet it sticks in the back of your brain and scratches it.
Is this like a Sci-Fi Channel mockbuster, or are we talking about just like a blockbuster that's so bad?
You could do anything you want. This is your mockbuster.
Okay. Oh God, because I love blockbusters that fail. So I'm going to say 2013's The Lone Ranger with Johnny Depp as Tonto.
Nice one. Corey, do you have one?
It's actually not that movie is actually not as bad as people want it to be, but it was never going to succeed ever. So, who was that movie for? Why was that a blockbuster? Was it for people born in 1910?
It cost $250 million, and the fact that nobody said no delights me to no end.
There was no audience left for that movie.
Except for me. I sat in the theater, and I could not have been more enthused at hearing the William Tell Overture blaring over a large cinema sound system. Again, it was made for nobody, but it was made, at the very least, it was made for me. I delight in the fact that I threw $26 of gross box office totals at Disney for that a decade ago.
Good for you, man. So wait, did you enjoy it or not enjoy it?
Oh, I delighted in the fact that it's just absolutely bonkers. The fact that you have zombie jackalopes, the genocide, the Native Americans, just Barry Pepper handling Helena Bonham Carter's ivory leg. So much in that movie that is misguided, but it's everything I could possibly ask for in a $250 million Disney film.
I'm down with it.
Corey, what about yours?
See, I'm not so sure this is a mockbuster, but number one, it is a staunchly held belief, and two, it'll get a rise out of you. Man of Steel should be shuttered behind in Fort Knox, never to be seen by anyone again. That abominable piece of crap. And I guess it didn't really fail. Well, it didn't. That was probably the only one in the DCEU that made enough money to not be considered a failure. But I feel like more people wound up feeling the way I did when I left the theater because nothing else after it worked.
The thing about Man of Steel is that DC wanted that film to make $1 billion. DC Warner Brothers. So even though it made money, it wasn't a financial loss for them, it was projected to do over $1 billion. And that's why they immediately, oh God, was it Comic-Con a couple of months later? Or no, Comic-Con, whatever it was, they immediately kind of went back to, we're doing Batman v Superman, because it sat there, didn't meet internal projections.
Well, I'll say no matter the movie, $1 billion internal projection feels like a little much.
But that's the thing, though. They felt they was going to sit there, do more, because they felt okay, this is our slam dunk at competing with Marvel. This is going to be our Iron Man.
But did anybody watch it before they thought that?
I did.
All the
that makes one person.
All the heart that goes into a Superman movie is all drained out of it. The needlessly dark, edgy, and cool BS that Snyder is known for. That only worked one time, and he gets to do it for the rest of his life.
When you say BS, do you mean BVS?
No, I mean bullshit. I mean his dark, edgy bullshit that he puts on every movie he's ever made, and they're all terrible. 300 is the only movie that I ever left before it was done in the theater. I was gone. That movie's terrible. Now I'm just ranting about Zack Snyder. So, Joe, go ahead, give me your mockbuster.
I am deeply offended by that comment.
I know you are.
We
can go back to it if you want.
We will go back to it, but I will complete this segment and give you my mockbuster. Waterworld. That's all I have to say. Waterworld.
So
Kevin Costner. Dryland does exist. I do. I've seen it. All right. This was a steaming pile of, I don't even think whale feces would actually quantify it.
Ambergris, a steaming pile of ambergris.
I know. It's just like, oh my God.
No, it's bad.
And to top it off, the one to follow that was what? The Postman.
Oh.
So it's like that's a 1-2 punch with, I do respect Kevin Costner. He played a mean Pa Kent, even though he offed himself in a tornado. But in one of the greatest movies ever made, Man of Steel by Zack Snyder. # restore the Snyderverse.
# burn it, never to be seen again.
# I watched that 4-hour Justice League movie 4 times.
I own
already.
the 4-hour Justice League movie.
I would watch it right now.
# get a hobby.
# that was my hobby.
I will say that with Kevin Costner's Waterworld, I think the story behind the making of that film is probably more interesting than the film itself.
There are a ton of blockbusters that are like that, where even when they're given the budget, because the budget on Waterworld's nuts, they wind up massively over budget. It's a troubled shoot. There's 1,000 that are like that, and there's a million reasons why Waterworld failed beyond what you see on the screen.
But it was billed as it was going to be the next Dances with Wolves. And it was billed that this is the can't miss movie of the summer. You have to actually get your ticket now because it's going to be so great. Kevin Costner's in it. It's going to be so awesome. Dennis Hopper.
That should have been your first sign that it wasn't going to be.
I'm like, oh my God.
The thing about Waterworld, though, is that I think it's another one. It's kind of like, oddly enough, speaking of Superman movies, like Superman Returns, in that like it made money, it just cost too much to make.
Superman Returns is 50 times the movie that Man of Steel is, and it's not even good. At least it tried to capture the spirit of the older Superman films. Brandon Routh has all the charisma of a scarecrow in the role, but thematically it's better.
A Stalker Superman, nothing wrong with that. I saw that the Thursday before the premiere. It was a present from my fiance, that soon to be my wife. It was the first time she ever went to a movie before it opened. It was a sneak peek screening. She got me tickets for it. She actually went with me, which was another feat unto itself. And she never went into a movie theater before where people actually standed up and clapped at the end of the movie.
Oh, well, yeah, because when you're in the pre-screening, you're getting the diehards in the pre-screening, so they're going to do that.
I almost dressed up in a Superman costume for that.
Oh, you 100% should have done that.
Almost. But that was before my wife truly knew who I was.
You figured you weren't going to be able to seal the deal with that move?
I don't think I would have. I think she would have been like, what is this? I'm like, nothing.
Nothing at all?
Yeah. It was a lengthy conversation when she saw my Star Trek uniform.
Where did she see that, Joe? Was that like
when we moved into with each other, she goes, what's that on a hanger? I go, my Star Trek uniform.
Is it like boxed and hanging on the wall?
No, it's like on a hanger. I hang it in my closet.
Which means that maybe you're going to wear it at some point? Like it's Friday Star Trek uniform day? Or
actually, I will wear it, and I will show my camera.
Casual Friday.
When we sit there and we have Trekkie talk. So hopefully the wheel spins on that. I will wear mine.
Yes. I also
Set
think
phasers to fun.
I think you should wear it to work one day, too. I'm just saying.
It's exciting. I actually did wear it to work one day.
Did you?
Yeah, it was Halloween. We could dress up.
Because I figure if I could dress like Elvis, you'd get away with it.
Yeah, I could. I could probably go in there tomorrow and dress up like it, and they would be like, "Hey, Joe." They wouldn't think anything of it because it was me.
Hey, you're one of the only people left. You can dress however you want.
Yeah. Like, oh my God. But, all right. So, next topic. We went from the bad. Let's go for the great. All right. Thing that actually knocked your socks off when you saw it, probably like a life changing experience, something that you always feel fondly of. Corey, let's go with you first because I'm going to mock whatever you say.
See, I view this in a different way. I think some people would view it like if you go into a movie with expectations and it meets it, then that's great. In order to blow me away, I have to go into a movie with none, and you gotta stun me. That's Mad Max Fury Road. Because that movie had absolutely no right to be as good as it is. That guy only made 2 movies between Thunderdome and Fury Road, and they were both about Babe the Pig, and he came back 25 years later and made a Mad Max movie with no CGI and all working props that is unbelievable. It is a cinematic miracle. Everybody should respect it.
Or you're forgetting about Lorenzo's Oil and the Happy Feet movies.
Yes, Happy Feet as well. It's bolstering my case. I did forget about it, but I have no idea why he went to make kids movies after Mad Max and then popped back up again.
And he almost directed a Justice League movie, right, Joe?
Yes, with Arnie Hammer as Batman.
Ooh,
I thought you were going to say Armie Hammer as a cannibal, but that wouldn't come for another 15 years later.
That's, yeah.
Not so late.
Fast forward. Oh. Zach, what is yours all-time favorite, like, earth-shattering, mind-blowing movie you've ever seen?
Oh God. There's been a couple movies that I've kind of walked out and going, wow, too. The one that comes to mind now is Inglourious Bastards. I was in high school for that. Like, I remember when that movie came out, all my friends went to go see it before me. And it was a weird time period because that movie came out, oh God, roughly 13 years ago. And my friends had just turned like 17, so they got to go see it without their parents. And I was like one of the last ones to turn like 17 in that time period. So I saw it with my mother and father, and they were not, oh God, by no means, but it was just a combination of just Brad Pitt, and I guess the trailers looked good. And I remember walking out of that. Like I said, my expectations weren't high, but it was kind of like I was looking forward to it. And I can still remember that moment in the theater when they have Christoph Waltz on the ground. Brad Pitt obviously carves the swastika into his head, and he turns around and goes, "Yovich, this might just be my masterpiece." And it's like to the credit theme song, and I'm like, woo. And ever since then, it's always been my kind of favorite movie-going experience. That, along with Gravity. Seeing Gravity opening weekend in IMAX 3D was another one of these exhilarating experiences for a movie.
I think the part for Inglourious Bastards that was probably big for a lot of people. How often do you see in a big budget release an actor you've never seen before command the screen and blow you away like that? I think that's a big part of why it sticks out.
Well, it's also too, you get a villain that one for the ages. Like you think about movies, and we talk about kind of like larger than life characters nowadays. And how many good villains do we have anymore that we can kind of point to and are instantly recognizable as soon as you see them on screen? Not to bring this to Marvel, but like you think of things like Thanos, you think of characters like that. But Christoph Waltz, Colonel Hans Landa, is one of those examples that's wholly original, cut from really nothing, except just the archetype of being a Nazi. You're right, Corey. Really kind of unheralded for something that we haven't seen a lot of in the last 20 years or so.
And the villain thing, Joe, that might be Zack Snyder's fault too, because
Zack Snyder.
You don't know who the villains in his movies are because everybody's dark and troubled and edgy, so they're all villains. So you can't. There's no archetype.
It was Mockhead.
Isn't Superman technically the villain of Man of Steel? He's more responsible for millions of deaths than Zod is.
Wow. I don't know how I'm getting piled up on here, but
Man of Steel is the equivalent of putting utensils in a blender for 2 hours. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
Oh.
No, Man of Steel, like I said, like not the dog pile on poor Joe. I don't know. At the same time, I don't know why we're making Joe and Zack Snyder like synonymous here. Like Hack Snyder is the villain, not Joe. But I will say, Corey, is that like there is a moment in Man of Steel that I point to that just shows that like Superman's the villain. Like I think they're on the streets of Metropolis during the third act climax that lasts 45 minutes. And Zod throws like an oil tanker, I think it's a LexCorp oil tanker at Superman. In any other incarnation of Superman, Superman would like catch it and like throw it into the sky, then like maybe like laser beam it with his eyes so like it causes no collateral damage. Except in Man of Steel, he literally just leaps over it as it like explodes the entire ground floor of like a skyscraper. And I'm like, Superman wouldn't do that. I'm like, and I get it, like there's been numerous interpretations of Superman, but if you're making one for like a 4-quadrant multi-million-dollar film, that version of Superman by no means should just allow a oil tanker to explode the ground level of a skyscraper.
Joe, you didn't know it was going to be a tag team action when we did the podcast, did you?
No, I did not. I was like, wow.
But at the same time, though, I do own the 4-hour cut of Hack Snyder's Justice League, so like I am just as culpable in this as Joe is.
You're guilty, Weber. You're guilty.
I will pose my my synopsis of the Man of Steel after we're all said and done. And
give me the movie that blew you away, Joe.
Zack Snyder's The Man of Steel.
The Man of Steel.
Man of Steel.
No, I have two, because one I was on something, and the other one I just truly enjoyed, and it was probably one of the trippiest experiences I've ever had in a movie theater without being on any substance. So I'm going to do the one that I wasn't on any substance, but I thought I was, and that would be Event Horizon. And what that did in that opening scene when they pan out and the guys on Sam Neill is on the space station and the space station is actually turning, it actually literally made me dizzy when it was turning and pulling back. And I was just like, wow, I was blown away by that movie. It was like a sci-fi horror movie. Wasn't really into horror, but I saw that opening weekend and it was amazing. I think it caught me in that first 5-minute clip.
That's a good pick, Joe. It's a good pick.
And the other one was that I actually had a blast seeing, and that was Matilda. I saw that in private. It was a double feature with Independence Day.
Oh my God.
And it was amazing, because here you have this little girl doing magic, and I remember I'm like, oh my God, she is magic. I don't see any strings. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Oh my God. But Danny DeVito in it was amazing. Rhea Perlman.
I tell you, that was the last thing I expected, and that was an excellent answer. I didn't think Matilda was coming out right there.
Oh yeah, I was.
That's great.
Hey, you could see what my mind state was when yeah, I saw it. Franchise movies are a thing right now. Everyone wants the superhero movie. All the movie studios want a superhero movie. They all can't be like Zack Snyder's The Man of Steel, but there have been many franchises in the movies. Let's go around and see. Zach, I don't think I need to ask you, but I'm going to ask you anyway, your favorite movie franchise.
Do you want me to take the low-hanging fruit, or do you want me to do something a little outside the box?
Just be honest, man. You're in a safe space here. No one's going to, except for Corey, going to rag on you.
Oh, of course it has to be Star Wars, for numerous reasons that are too many to count. There's multiple years of podcast episodes that document all of this. But yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet. Good old, the Star War.
Corey?
I'm not sure that we could, maybe it's not a franchise. Maybe it is, anything Lord of the Rings for me, because the fact that they were able to put that all together is incredible to me. And even though the Hobbit trilogy didn't really need to be a trilogy and it's over long, we probably could have done it in 2. Like, if the Lord of the Rings are on TNT with the commercials and I need to spend 18 hours to watch them all, I'll still do it.
I'd have to do the original Trek.
Aha.
Yeah.
Including the motion picture?
The motion picture is the most underrated movie ever. It is the most amazing thing. And it's out in the theaters right now. And I would buy tickets and have everyone go see it with me. It's amazing. The director's cut is out in 4K. Go out and buy it if you haven't seen it and you have 3 hours to kill. It's the greatest movie that you'll appreciate after you watch your favorite Star Trek movie and you get hooked on it.
Yeah, that's a good one. Wrath of Khan's the best one, right? Though, right? That's
Wrath of Khan sealed the deal for me. That was the thing. When I was a kid, HBO, Star Wars was on constantly, Empire Strikes Back, and then next thing you know, I found out Star Trek. Man, that just changed my world. Here you have 7 people just going through, bebopping through, exploding stuff on starships. Had a little science to it. It's cool.
Joe, I ever told you what my favorite Star Trek film is?
Insurrection.
No. It worse than that.
You like the one with the whales, right?
No, worse than that.
Worse than that.
Worse than that. What did you like? Nemesis?
Into Darkness.
Oh, you went JJ on me. Oh man.
Yeah. It's funny, like going back to the question a couple of moments ago, like theater go, kind of like just movies that blew you away. I can still remember, like I enjoyed 2009 Star Trek, but like I said, kind of like, okay, like this is fun. Like in a time period when we were kind of Star Wars deprived, I'm like, this is neat because obviously it was Star Trek light. So when Star Trek Into Darkness, like I saw that, again, another IMAX movie theater, I saw that. I remember just walking at that, I'm like, that was a lot of fun. Like I just remember, like I've watched it a couple times on home video and I enjoyed it, but that was another fun movie, like going experience, just being like, this is pleasant. I enjoy this. And I get it. It's not, the weird thing about Into Darkness is that like at that point, Star Trek for a while had not been super cerebral. So I guess it was just the idea that like Star Trek was firmly going into like the campy space adventure as opposed to scientific. But I never understood, because if you even look up to this day, like it has like a fresh Rotten Tomatoes score. The critics liked it at the time. It's one of those movies that I don't know why it got beat up on so bad, other than just the fact that like it had already departed the station that Star Trek had left many, many moons ago.
The only thing it does wrong is it telegraphs that it's Khan, right? It telegraphs it way too much. But if you take that away, that movie works if that's just a different villain. If it's not Khan.
It's John Harrison.
Then the movie does actually work. But the problem was how much it was telegraphed.
There was too much. It's like, here we have the best Star Trek movie ever created in The Wrath of Khan, and we're going to use the character and we're going to flip the script just a little bit just to annoy the hardcore Trekkies. And that's basically what it did. It spurned me in a place where feeling blown away. Yes, I wanted to feel myself get blown away.
Oh.
It was that bad. It was, my wife's like, oh, we're going to go watch Into Darkness. I'll go see it with you. So I went and I saw it with my wife. I was excited to go see it. And then when I actually watched it, I was like, you can't be serious. And she goes, I thought it was all right. I was like, you've never seen Star Trek 2. She goes, no. I go, you don't understand. You don't understand. And she's like, what do you mean you don't understand? I was like, well, you got to go home and watch Star Trek 2. She goes, the hell I do. I already watched Star Trek with you today. Why am I going to watch it? I was like, no. To the part where they flipped who died in the reactor. Instead of Kirk yelling Khan, it was Spock. And it was, I could see, you know what, you want to reuse Khan, fine. Everything was going good up until the point of, and it did make sense to me, the Romulans coming through the spatial anomaly back in the past and often Kirk's dad. Okay. Change the timeline. Next thing you know, they start upping the patrols and they find him. The Enterprise doesn't find him, but some other ship does. And I could see them using Khan and his superior intellect to, make their ships of the future and everything like that. But dear God, I would say that was J.J. Abrams' Rise of Skywalker in the Star Trek franchise.
Hence why I love it.
Like, that's what I know as a hardcore Trekkie why it frustrated you. But if you're able to, and I know it's hard for you to step out of that zone. It would have worked if that just wasn't Khan. And yes, I know that is a big deal, but the movie would have worked on its own if that's just a random villain. That's why it's better than something like Insurrection or Nemesis or, you know.
Well, originally what I thought it was going to be instead of Khan, because I know that online when I was reading the spoilers for this like every day, and I looked it up and they were like, John Harrison. I was like, maybe that's the guy that became like a god in Where No Man Has Gone Before, the first James Kirk episode. And I was like, ooh. And then the blonde, I was like, oh, she could be Sally Kellerman from that episode too. Oh man, this is going to be great. Yeah. Retelling something like that, that'd be so awesome. And then it turning out to be Khan, I was like, okay, it's not a problem. I had no problem with Benedict Cumberbatch as Khan. They had no problems with him. I think he did a fabulous job. I just think that it was put together horrible. I don't think he did a bad job, but it was just the writing in it was absolutely. If I was to do it, I would have done it a completely different way.
Fair enough. I think that's fair. I also think you can take everything that Joe has just said and apply it to how I feel about Zack Snyder. Now, put back around. We're back. Joe, we're back.
We're back? All right.
We're back. We're back on Sunday.
I think I'm going to have to, take my time now and defend the Man of Steel. Now, mind you, no one can ever replace the greatest movie of all times, Richard Donner. Richard Donner, Superman. That movie was amazing in so many aspects. I get so much nostalgia over it. I watched that from when I was 2 all the way up until I was 43. And I'll watch it every single time it's on. I have watched it and was able to follow it even when it was on the Spanish channel because I knew the dialogue word for word. All right. But that one, all right. Some of the pluses I like on that, Russell Crowe as Jor-El. Love it. All right. Love it. Michael Shannon as Zod. Amazing. Henry Cavill does a pretty good job. He looks the part. Didn't like the moodiness of it, but saw where they were going on it. You can't be faulting Superman for all the destruction in Metropolis when he's been Superman for a day and a half. This is a guy that just outed himself to the whole world. No one knew he was there. There's a big alien ship that's above the city. And then next thing you know, they're coming down, causing a ruckus. He's just like, I'm the only one that's strong enough to stop that. So he goes and does it. There's no Batman yet.
But he hasn't been Superman for a day and a half.
He's always been Superman, but he's never
been
actually
outed as Superman.
He's been outed, but how he hasn't been sitting there and not getting in a fight. He was always supposed to restrain himself.
Theoretically, he's supposed to have the teachings of the Kents. This isn't Smallville. It's not like Tom Welling when he was 16 and his girlfriend broke up with him, destroyed the city. That's not what happened. He's an adult.
But he's not going to rage out and destroy a city. It takes 2 to tango on this one there, Corey.
It's Superman's code. It's just like in Batman versus Superman when Batman grabs a gun. Like all casually, like that's a thing. Batman's going to grab a gun. Like you just went on a rant about how the Star Trek movies destroyed Khan. Nothing that Zack Snyder has done with one member of the DCEU is true to the character in any sense. None of it. None.
Batman has a cape.
Yay!
I'm not saying it's gold. I'm not saying it's my favorite movie of all times, but come on.
I would rather watch Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
I don't know about that. I think we need to get you scheduled for a CAT scan, Corey.
And that is one terrible movie. That is terrible, god awful. I'd still rather watch it.
What about the Roger Corman's Fantastic Four?
Ooh.
Have you ever seen that?
That's a close one. That's a close one. At least it's campy.
That was beyond campy.
Yeah.
My God. I saw that and I was like, wow. I was like, I could see why they canceled it.
Yeah. No, I get it. It was a good call by the studio.
That's a cute movie, though.
It's a cute movie.
probably not something we should say about a Fantastic Four movie, that it's cute. That might be the root of the issue here.
I don't think so. I think, again, the best Fantastic Four movie ever made is The Incredibles, and that's a cute movie.
It's an interesting take you've just laid down, and I like it.
Thank you, Corey. Thank you. No, like I said, the Roger Corman Fantastic Four, for a movie that was never intended to be released, there's a pretty good documentary called Doomed. I think it's the tale of Roger Corman's Fantastic Four that explains, like, it was only made as, like, a rights holder move, so they could hang on to the rights and try doing more with it. No, I watched that once again, like, over 10 years ago back, like, when, like, it was on YouTube, like, one of the first, like, bootleg things on YouTube. And it's, like I said, I think it gets the tone right. It's probably the best Fantastic Four movie ever made compared to, like, the 2015 movie in the 2005 and 7 films.
That story was kind of screwed up, though.
Which one?
The Roger Corman one.
The story in all of them is screwed up, if you want to be honest.
You didn't have, like, a 25-year-old Reed Richards hitting on a 10-year-old Sue Storm. It was kind of like,
Which one is that? It's been a while since I've watched the Roger Corman one.
Yeah. I think he babysitted him one time when he was in college. And he's like, hey, how are you? Your name's Sue. She goes, I'm going to be an astronaut when I'm all grown up like you. He's like, oh, I can't wait. It was
okay, I'm back. I dropped out for a second. I'm back.
But hey, the rubber suit thing, everything. That was awesome. Had the guy who played the boy in the plastic bubble as Johnny Storm after John Travolta.
It's probably better than that last Fantastic Four reboot. The last one.
When they were getting all edgy.
Yeah. See, I'm anti all of that, in case you haven't figured it out. Batman's probably the only comic book character where that can fit, but you still have to not be stupid about it.
Well, there's a couple of them that could pull it off.
Yeah, there's a couple.
But Superman's not supposed to be one of them. And that's why, if you actually take a look at the 4-hour-long Zack Snyder's Justice League, Restore the Snyderverse, he actually did Superman the right way towards the end of the movie. He wasn't supposed to be dark and broody. He was supposed to be a symbol of hope. And at the end of that movie, even though he's wearing the black suit, which I don't agree with, they let Henry Cavill play him right.
I'm going to take your word for it, because I would rather get a colonoscopy on a daily basis for a month than watch that. I'm gonna
have to cut that, and just those parts, and I'm gonna just send them to you in like 2-minute clips.
You're gonna make a Yazoo cut?
Yeah. Either that or I'm going to Clockwork Orange you. I'm going to sit there and tape your eyes open and make you watch the whole 4 hours. You're like, watch it, Corey. Watch it. Watch it. Watch it.
No. Why?
Take the medicine, Corey.
What's the next question on the list there, Joe?
Oh, boy. So we did franchises. We did favorite movie, bomb busters. Everything that's happened with this pandemic. And everything coming back to normal, do you think movie-going experiences will ever be the same as it was before? In the news lately, one of the top-grossing movies of the year so far has been Top Gun Maverick. I haven't seen it. I don't know if anyone else has, but
I haven't yet either.
Zach, have you?
I have seen it. I saw it opening day in IMAX. And then it was the bottom half of a double feature of Grease and Top Gun Maverick, a very interesting sweet and sour combination.
Yeah, what's going on there?
It's up there with the Independence Day Matilda double feature. A lot of weird stuff happens in upstate New York at the drive-ins.
But that you're kind of touching on what's happening with movie-going experiences now. Not only are people craving nostalgia since the pandemic, in that particular case, they're sticking nostalgia right in front of Top Gun. So,
well, I think part of it too is the fact that Olivia Newton-John died. I think that was a little bit of the reason why. On top of the fact, there's like, oh God, after Thor, there's really been no other major movies this summer.
And do we think that's a product of the pandemic in terms of like, are we finally catching like halted production and whatnot, or? What's going on there?
I think it's definitely a combination of that, because you look again, oh God, you had a couple of new movies in August. You had like Bullet Train, oh God, can't even really think of much, like Roar. And then for September, there's again a couple things here and there, but it's kind of weird to think that like during Labor Day weekend, the highest grossing movie this upcoming weekend is either going to be Top Gun Maverick again, or the Spider-Man No Way Home reissue. Like it's really weird to think those are the movies that are headlining the box office right now.
To go back to Joe's question, I think we're starting to see we don't have a clear picture of how the pandemic fundamentally changed the movie going experience, because a lot of things that were supposed to be in theaters, people watched at home. Studios realized that was another revenue stream without the theaters as a middleman. But if we get something big enough, it could change. We need like a huge movie. I don't know what that is, but that's what would do it. An Endgame level movie, basically, is what we need.
Well, didn't you already get that in the form of Spider-Man No Way Home? Like nostalgia combined with like laying out more story for the Marvel machine.
I don't think that's quite, it's not, that wasn't an end. I think we need something that's probably the end of something if we're talking about a huge box office. I'm just offhand, I'm trying to, I don't really know what would do it, to be honest with you. There's gotta be something there. I don't know what it is, though.
It's going to be the theatrical release of Zack Snyder's The Justice League 4-hour movie. Get your tickets now.
Everybody gets a free root canal at the intermission at the 2-hour mark.
I want to say, if they actually put that in the theaters, Corey, me and you are going to go and see it together. And I'll get popcorn.
Here's the thing, like, I value my time, and I like myself. I wouldn't do that to myself. Feels like,
But just to see you squirm.
Just to see me squirm?
See you squirm. You're going to be like, and then next thing you know, you're going to be like, I kind of like this. You're going to be like, oh. Like, ooh.
So what would do it, Joe? What do you think in terms of like, because we're watching like I said, the theater experience sort of change in a fundamental way. Is it bound to stay that way? Can something turn the tide?
It's going to have to be a total reinvention of everything, because you take a look at it. Everything always goes back to the home base. If people don't have to go outside, they don't have to. Case in point, movies had a big issue when the TV came out. When the TV became prevalent, everyone started getting a TV in their homes. Next thing you know, the theater going experience kind of dipped after that. People were getting their entertainment that way. Same thing can be said for arcades. Arcades back in the 80s were the thing. I would sit there and ask my parents to go to Dream Machine in the Duchess Mall just so I could see and play the latest game that's out there and put my quarter up to be next. Fun Central back in the 90s and the early 2000s, stuff like that. Playing the newest, Mortal Kombat game or the Simpsons arcade game. Everything. Then you had the rise of the home systems. You had, the first was Atari, but the graphics weren't as great as Atari. Then you had Nintendo. Nintendo, okay, it's getting close. But then once you got like the PlayStation 2, Xbox, Nintendo 64, GameCube, everything started to shift and change. So now it's very, very difficult to actually get a decent arcade. You can't find one really. And
no, because you can get all that at home now.
You can get all that at home. And the same thing is once they open the genie from the bottle on the streaming, where you can, it's almost like this commercial I watched when I was in my early 20s. It was like a cable commercial, and someone's sitting there in a black and white TV, and someday soon, Billy, you'll be able to see all your favorite Hollywood blockbusters from the comfort of your home. You won't have to go out anymore. And I'm like, yeah, right. And then it happened. And I'm like, wow. It's like they were priming this the whole time. And
for sure. And it's cost effective for the studio. It's like one thing I don't think will ever be the same way. Kids movies, right? That's it.
Yeah.
Parents don't. It's hard to get the kids out of the house. Now you don't have to do it.
You could sit there, and if you're going to have a party and watch a movie, you could sit there, put a projector in your backyard, get a screen, and put it on the screen. You can have the kids sit there and make a mess at your house instead of at the movie theater. The only problem is they'll probably still have it at the movies so that people don't have to worry about cleaning up their house, because that's one thing I would do. I was like, I don't need these kids at my house.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Get off the lawn.
Get off my lawn.
Get off the lawn. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go in and we're going to have a little quiz. I'm going to have a quiz for you guys, okay? So what we're going to do is I'm going to share my screen here. And this is from quizquestions.uk. All right? So these are round one. All right? So anyone, speak up when you know this, okay? I solemnly swear I'm up to no good. Name that movie.
Prisoner of Azkaban.
You are correct. I am a cotton-headed knitting muggins.
Elf.
You are correct. Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Dirty Dancing.
Oh, tie. You can't just walk out of a drive-in. Anyone?
Grease?
Back to the Future?
Grease.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't even give an answer, but yes, it is Grease. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Gone with the Wind.
Yes. Buzz, your girlfriend's woof.
Home Alone?
Alone. Here's looking at you, kid.
Casablanca?
Boom. Think you deserve to be here, don't you? Fraternizing among Navy men.
Few Good Men?
No. Officer and Gentleman. Oh, Men of Honor. I even screwed that one up. Love that movie. Mrs. Robinson, you're trying to seduce me, aren't
Graduate.
you? Yes.
Overrated, but yes.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
Jaws.
Okay. I'll be back.
Terminator.
But I guess you guys aren't ready for that yet, but your kids are going to love it.
Back to the Future.
Got it. Mom always said I had a way of explaining things so I could understand it. You got it. I ate his liver beans with some fava beans.
Silence of the Lambs.
Say hello to my little friend.
Scarface.
You got it. Wax on, wax off.
Karate Kid.
Yep. Nobody owes nobody nothing.
Shawshank?
Rocky. I'm the king of the world.
Titanic.
Got it. And the last one is The Power of Christ Compels You.
The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
How is round 4 You're a Wizard, Harry? Like, how is
it's
that?
Like there's no, I'm sitting there trying to find something. All right, how about this? Hamburger's the cornerstone of any nutritious breakfast.
Pulp Fiction?
Corey?
I don't know. Is that Pulp Fiction?
Pulp Fiction.
Hell yeah.
What do you call a cheeseburger in France? A double cheeseburger.
Royale with cheese.
Royale with cheese. At my signal, unleash hell.
Braveheart?
Gladiator.
That's right.
Man, you think that they would progressively get harder.
I like how one of the...
My name's Max. That's my name. Like, what is...
Oh my god, that's rough.
That was a tough one. Man, oh man. But don't worry, you can go to this link and you can actually print it so you can have your game night.
BuzzFeed's really losing its edge.
I know.
It is indeed.
Well, this was a boisterous conversation, and I do appreciate Zack joining us. Zack, thank you for making time.
Yes, thanks for coming on, my friend.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for having me on.
I hope you had fun.
I had something. I don't know what it was, but I had something.
I think that was the Del Taco that you ate.
Yeah, it was the Del Taco. Yeah, absolutely.
It's indigestion and queasiness.
Jeez.
It will pass. All right. So we're going to one of Corey's favorite parts of the day.
New spin.
We're going to do a new spin, and see what we have going on here. Round and round it goes. Where it stopped, no one knows. And it is... Ooh.
Oh, there we go. Break out the uniform, Joe.
I'm going to break out the uniform. I will do that, and I will post pictures of me in it. I'll do a little fashion show for everybody. Put it on the Facebook site.
For this.
Zack,
Oh God, Trekkie! Did I prophesize this or something by going into darkness a little too much?
I think so. That's what you did. Yeah.
Oh jeez. Oh God. What kind of hell did I unleash on the wheel combo?
Zack put his foot on the wheel. He's like, "No, you have to talk about this." All right. So if you are a Trekkie, next episode's for you. All right. We're gonna have a nice, interesting talk about Star Trek, the myth, the legend. The greatest show that ever aired.
Yes, it should be fun. It should be a lot of fun. I'm going to talk mostly about Next Generation because that's just the best one.
I don't know.
We'll touch on all of them, but Next Generation is the best one.
Have you seen Strange New Worlds?
I have not yet. Do you want me to watch it before we record?
Yes, you have to, because I'm going to be pulling a lot from that. So that is probably one of my favorite ones right now, and it just started.
What is that, Paramount Plus?
Yeah.
Cheap plug, Paramount Plus.
Paramount
CBS.
Plus.
CBS,
Right.
if you hear us, we're in. We'll do a post show for Strange New Worlds for you guys. We're in.
That's right. I'll if you are kind enough to give me a Starfleet accurate costume, I will wear it, and we'll do a video podcast for you. I'll even grow out a beard.
I love it.
But no, it's a very, very good show. Very high production value. Very good stories. Like one of them, I'm not even going to ruin it for you, but one of the episodes, oh my God.
Just oh my God.
Just oh my God. And that's it, man.
I'm gonna have to catch a couple at least before we record.
That's the last one. You gotta watch the last one.
So how many will I have to watch then?
10.
Yeah, that's a lot in a week. I'll see what I can do.
All right. So once again, thank you, Zack, for joining us. This was the Wheel of Convo. I am Joe.
And I am Corey.
Once again, may the wheel spin in your favor. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.